There are many illusionary effects in nature. Well, in nature itself there isn't. It's just our interpretation of nature that can be illusionary. Now, we all want to look for a quick, short way to do things. That's efficiency, isn't it? But we need to keep an open mind that sometimes the so-called shortcuts can be the long way round. The so-called shortcut might be dangerous, right? It mightn't be the correct way, right? And sometimes we take that thinking we're being efficient. Well, quite often it's not, in many respects. We have limited sensory ability and knowledge, therefore we can make mistakes. And one of the biggest illusionary effects of all is in the medical field, thinking we can take a pill, right, and overcome the problem. Now, what happens when we take these drugs and pills from the medical profession? In most cases, not all, but in the biggest majority of them, we are, what can we say, stopping nature's process. We have pain and aches and all sorts of discomforts. Nature's trying to correct something, or our body is trying to correct something. But we often don't want to put up with it. We'd like to avoid it, so we think by taking a pill we avoid it, but we don't. Right? All we do is give you a temporary relief and it comes out worse later on. It's, what can I say, the healing crisis, most illnesses and sickness, healing crisis, the body halts that to deal with the drugs and medication, which is more dangerous. And the so-called symptoms seem to dry up for the moment. And that seems to be a cure. That's an illusory effect. It's not a cure, right? So the body deals with the greater danger, which is the medication, until it can get a chance to deal with the other, right? And correct. So we often seesaw with this business, not knowing the real truth. Now, unfortunately, the so-called shortcuts is a money-making thing, the drug companies and the doctors. While you're filling yourself up with all this rubbish, your sicknesses will be permanently with you and getting worse, progressively worse in the long run, seeming in the short run to be a temporary relief or cure, artificially. So you're better off to ride most of them out. Of course, there are some things you can't ride out. If you get a blockage in the heart or something, right, you often can't ride it out, you'll die. But generally speaking, if you can ride it out, you'll be better off. Now, that's just a medical profession. In practically every avenue in science, there are illusionary effects, and we follow them, right? Thinking we're progressing. Mind you, we have progressed exponentially from the caveman in certain respects in technology, because technology is purely physical, right? It doesn't deal with magic, right? It looks for the absolute truth. Unfortunately, the doctors don't look for the absolute truth. They don't want it, and neither do the religious people. They don't want the absolute truth, because it would prevent them making profit and gaining and control over people. So they don't want the absolute truth. Of course, the general public are sick and they're looking for a way out, and these religious people and doctors give them, what can I say, a temporary relief. But it's not a cure. It's worse in the long run. So take a step back and look for the real truth. Scratch beneath the surface right? Scratch beneath the surface. But we don't, do we? And it's surprising what you'll find. There are some people that do know the truth, but the establishment's so strong that they can squash them, right? The establishment's got control of the media, they've got control of all that sort of thing. In the end, they can force you to jump to their tune. Right throughout history, the establishment has forced people to jump to their tune, right? Because they're so ignorant they don't even know what's happening to them. They just take the word of these gurus, accept it. Well, I don't. Now, the swine flu, that's the biggest cop-out ever, right? The flu, what's the flu? Body trying to heal itself, correct itself. We go filling ourselves up with medication and drugs, right? I don't know all the answers, but the so-called virus is a cop-out. It's the immune system, it's not the virus. They blame the germs and the viruses, etc. Right? Anything to justify themselves. Right? Anyhow, I'll sign off at that and see where we go from that.